And welcome back to part 3, I guess, of Seekers Session 8. You have all been in town here doing various things, learning about the dwarves and their gods, and doing some research in the library. What are the 5 with Sambar going to do here with the rest of your time in Sarmanath? What's your goal? What are you guys looking to do?
I think on the first day, Lion, Stalker, and Tom both get very drunk.
Yeah.
And Rose and Janlar probably find them where they were left, but kind of passed out on a bench.
they're drunk sleeping next to Goreck, who's just old sleeping on the same bench.
That's hilarious.
But I think for the remainder of the days, I'll probably start putting out some feelers for new jobs we can take on.
Okay. Yeah. So, you put out some feelers, and, of course, the Seekers have just a standard board of things that you could do. Available quests that you find in the Seekers organization include the town of Remba has requested Seeker help to investigate the nearby woods, as there have been numerous sightings of walking trees, and foresters and hunters in the region have had an unusually high number of injuries and accidents. Remba is, of course, a town just past Hawk's Hollow, toward the Gloomwood. And the... excuse me. The Seekers are willing to pay 100 GP for the resolution of the situation in Remba. The Seekers also have a notice from a wealthy wizard in town that has placed a bounty on basilisk eyes. And the Seekers will pay 50 GP per basilisk eye that has been properly harvested. The notice also indicates that there is a nest of basilisk that has been scryed in the mountains, a day's ride of Talon Bridge. The Dwarven smith in Sarmanath has placed a bounty on the carapace and the gland of a remoraz. The Seekers will pay 250 GP for each piece properly harvested from the remoraz. There is no indication of a successfully scryed remoraz here. And also, the owner of a vineyard outside of Colvir has requested the Seekers investigate the appearance of a strange statue of a beggar that has appeared outside his vineyard. The owner swears the statue seems to have moved places and befalls terrible luck upon his laborers. The Seekers will pay 500 GP for the successful investigation and resolution of the statue.
I take that statue quest off the board. I take the parchment that it's nailed, that's written on. I take it, and I'll track down the group and say, "Hey, how does this sound? This sounds like an interesting little conundrum." And I'll pass it around for people to take a look at.
Like what?
There's a statue of a beggar that's apparently shown up near a vineyard, and it's been moving around, causing bad luck to befall those that it comes in contact with.
But statues don't move around. They're usually very still, they don't move.
Yes, I believe
By
that's the
definition
problem.
of being a statue, you could say.
So I guess we could call it more of a golem at this point then. Sure, why not? The point is, I'm pretty sure rift magic is involved, and it's worth a lot of money.
The statue?
Most likely. I'm not sure of any more regular magics that would cause this to happen. I mean, turning something into a stone golem is one thing, but this seems like a statue that is discreetly moving occasionally.
So, like, sneaking?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, I look through my coin pouch and see 7 coins, and I'm very interested in taking upon this quest.
Tell me more about this money.
Greg, I was going to ask, do I have any coin besides my starting background coin, since I'm level 3, not level 1?
You tell me. Did you come across any coin when you're traveling as a thing that you are?
As a wandering cleric.
As a wandering cleric.
I mean, people may have paid
not
for like clerical services, like funerals or weddings or like that kind of thing as an itinerary.
After having
That's
been
what you.
after having been
That's what you want. The dude who's like, I follow the god of death, and you're like, I'm getting married. Can you come over? And like,
Till death
we
do
would
us
be
part.
stoked to have
Maybe
it.
I
Yeah,
think I need to
exactly.
Until death do us part. Could you speed that process up, please?
Maybe not the
Maybe
divorce kind of guy. You know, maybe you're going.
Only clerics of death can actually officiate a divorce.
Yes, I like that. I think that's good. I
That's
let you
going
die.
in
You're
my
gonna get one
notes,
of those
actually.
guys. That's good.
That's a thing. Hold on. I have to make a note. Gods and world building. In Ungral. Okay, only a god of death may officiate a dwarven divorce. Okay, this is canon. This now exists.
Oh man.
Okay. So my question to you, Goreck, is after you've been given this directive from your god, have you been stopping to administer weddings and funerals and things like that?
I probably haven't really been seeking them out, but I would assume that Goreck, didn't just cut straight like as the crow flies across the countryside. He was probably, going from town to town the way that people typically travel. And when you get to towns, when the people are like, especially like when we were in Willard's Mill, they're like, we don't really have a cleric here.
Right.
So, like if they had services and stuff, he knew he needed to be at the top of the mountain by the full moon for the druid thing, but he didn't necessarily have to be there before that. So as long as he wasn't wasting too much time, I don't see why he wouldn't be helping.
Then I will grant you an additional 20 GP as starting funds for clerical duties performed on your way to the Amber Peak. Yeah.
I think I would also at some point, whenever he's awake, approach Goreck and just tug on his sleeve and say, Your Holiness?
Are you talking to Goreck this time or Tom?
Goreck.
He sort of looks at you. That form of address is not necessary. You can simply call me Goreck, or if you would feel more comfortable, you can address me as Father Gravemantle. But it is very formal.
Is formal bad?
Not always, but it is excessive. Would you wish me to consistently refer to you as Queen First Light of the Sun on the dew-soaked morning petals every time I speak to you?
I mean, yeah.
Very well.
I like it. I like my name, Good. So, how old are you?
He smiles and he says, Last time I counted, I was 363 years old.
Yes. I say, well, and I think about back to the conversation Tom had with Linestock, and I say, well, you don't look a day over 25. I smile at him.
He smiles and says, I cannot even remember a time that I was so young.
And I guess I hand him over this really, it's a really old book as well, isn't it? Like the one written in that ancient Dwarven language.
Yes, it is very
I said, if you read this language? And I hand it to him.
I do speak Dwarven.
Mm-hmm. You can read it, much like the scroll that Janlar found. It's old. It's definitely not a common Dwarven tongue.
It'd be like reading something Chaucer wrote now.
Yes, much like reading Chaucer. Like, you can do it, but it takes effort. And why would you? But yes, you can thumb through it. This is a retelling of a story that you probably are familiar with. This is the story of Dworkin, the first dwarf.
Of who? Sorry?
Dworkin, the first dwarf.
The first dwarf? Dworkin?
Yes.
Like Dwarkin, Dworkin?
Dworkin.
Okay.
But yes.
So they had a chance to call them dwarks, but they call them dwarves instead. I feel like it's a missed opportunity right there. Oh, well.
Dwark, the first dork.
The first of dwarks. And I say, this means a lot to us. This was one of the first quests we were sent to, kind of like a challenge, you know. And we need to learn more about this. It's called the Bound God? The Shackled?
Chain Lord, right?
Yeah, the Chained Lord, sorry. We need to learn more about this Chained Lord.
It's unlikely that I would know anything about the Chained Lord. Do you want me to roll religion or history and see?
Sure, if you would like to. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll religion.
Religion, not history.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go nat 20.
I almost rolled a d29. Nope.
Nah.
Okay.
Not likely.
You are familiar with the story of Dworkin. Dworkin was the first dwarf. He is one of the primary gods of the dwarves. He comes, according to legend, from the stock of the gods. But he was a dwarf among them. He was he drew half their size and in half their power, and was kind of shunned for it. But eventually a great need arose, and the gods called upon him for a great task, which Dworkin performed from the forge. He had lived as a mountain and forged for years on end, becoming like the first great smith of the gods. He created mountains. He created the canyons and the caves of the world at his own forge, according to Dwarven lore. And when the other gods came to him, he succeeded in his task and was kind of was elevated back up into their fold. And so is the story of Dworkin, the first dwarf. You are, of course, more of a follower of Ungral, so maybe you're not familiar with the details as much, but dwarves of the Great Halls would remember Dworkin and his story.
I'll kind of summarize that story for Rose. I'll kind of like, or for Queen, First Light of the Sun on the Dew Soaked Morning Petals. I'll sort of like flip through the book and without like specifically reading it, I will just relate the story as I know it, because it's less effort than actually reading the Middle English that it's written in. And just kind of like follow along and just kind of loosely, the way that like if you were reading The Cat in the Hat to someone and you're like, I don't really need to go through the whole type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there probably aren't really pictures in the book that I'm following along with, but I'll just kind of turn the pages to create the illusion that I'm reading it, not just basically reciting it from memory.
Right. So how is that related to the Chained God then?
I am not familiar with this chained god you speak of.
Because Algernon said that would be related to, like, he found something, right? And the story would somehow be related to that. That was what his note said, Greg?
Yes.
I could perhaps spend more time reading this book and see if there is mention of a chained god. It sounds like the sort of deep foulness that Druagar would worship.
I mean, it seems like a really old religion. And maybe dwarves are good with old religions. If you want to keep it, you can keep it. I'd be very interested in hearing more if you find anything.
Does your library have late fees?
I'm sure I can hand in a note. There's like a certain process you have to follow, but it is not very complicated, and I know the head librarian. I'm sure they will make it possible. I will sign for you, but you have to hand the book back to me or I'm going to be in trouble eventually, you know.
I will see what I can learn of this being you speak of.
That is very nice. Thank you. And then I go straight to Tom and I just slam the other book against his chest and I say, "Here you go."
What book is this? And I take it. My eyes are a little bit bleary. I have a bit of a hangover. And it's just...
I'm just waving his breath away. I was like, oh.
The book title, as you read it, is "Romances and Dalliances of the Court of the Old Kingdom."
Oh, sorry, wrong book. I take the book back as it's my etiquette book, and I slam the book back on his chest. I'm like, sorry.
What is this book? And I.
This is an ancient book on etiquette from like 500 or 600 years ago, meant to teach you like courtly etiquette in the like courts of the kingdom.
Exactly, that is mine. But I also picked up the one that he wanted to look for at the library, right? Because he wanted to look for.
I thought you were giving him your books.
I went with it. Like Rose absolutely just slammed that etiquette book against him when he was drunk, and then she was like, "Oh no, sorry," takes it back and gives him the.
Okay, after going through a number of books that is very confusing to Tom and to the DM, you get your hands on a book detailing the just like as a kind of study of the religion and of the dwarves of the old halls. Amongst them are the mentions of Ungral.
Oh, excellent! Thank you, Rose. I will. I'm gonna go drink some water, and then I'll get started on reading this.
Mm-hmm.
Rose, make sure don't drink too much, and if you do, make sure you drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of water. And then Tom just kind of like starts to saunter off.
Very good advice. Yes, thank you.
Our alcoholic cleric is just too funny. I'm sorry. I'm broken. It was very good. Okay, so you have. What are you doing with yourselves then? Have you decided to take upon you the quest down in Colvier?
I'm also.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm also going to bring up that we should at some point at least return to the farm with the giant bison creatures, because she said we should come back as soon as we are seekers and have our marks and can show them to her, right?
Oh yeah. And then we could also trade in the cart that she gave us for her old cart again, once she fixed it up.
Do you mention the other quest?
Will be very pleased that you have your old cart again.
Do you mention the other quests, or do you only show up with the one about the statue, Tom?
I probably mention... there was one other one. Oh, the tree one. But I mentioned that to like Rose directly and say, would you be okay if we had to kill trees?
Why does it say you have to kill them?
Well, so there are trees that are walking around, and lumberjacks are gaining a lot of mysterious injuries, and I think some disappearances. And I'm starting to think the trees might be rising up.
I crossed my arms and look at him, and I said, I don't think a tree walking around is a problem per se.
Well, not necessarily on its own, but if the trees are then engaging in violent acts against the lumberjacks.
Well, maybe the lumberjacks are provoking the trees, you know? Maybe they're cutting them down or setting them on fire. How about that? Maybe that makes trees really angry sometimes, you know? Maybe they don't like that very much.
I see your point. We won't do this job. Let's do the video.
I didn't say we can't do the job. I'm saying trees can be reasonable people.
Perhaps.
No, I'm not. I don't mean to speak against the trees. It's just...
Perhaps our group would be the best suited for this task, because any other group of human adventurers would simply go in and start cutting down trees.
I thought that was the job.
I'm going to the message board. I'm going to pick up that quest. Does it say anything about cutting down the trees, or does it talk about solving the problem?
No, it's the reward is for investigation and resolution of the disappearances and injuries.
It says resolution, not cutting down and setting on fire.
Well, that is a form of resolution.
It is the typical human form of resolution.
And it's very effective. Why do you think we exist everywhere?
You made me cry, Sean.
This man.
Tom, how much did you say the quest for the statue was worth?
500 gold. I don't remember how much the lumberjack one
I
was.
believe it was 100 gold.
So the vineyard might be more complicated or dangerous, but it's very well paying.
The basilisk guys were 50 apiece. You'd only need to kill 5 basilisks to make 500.
Yeah, but then you have to fight basilisks.
And you also potentially have another statue at hand.
Yeah. That is the concern.
I mean, we could do the statue first. I'm sure the lumberjacks are going to stick around.
Yes, I don't think they're going anywhere. So we could go do the vineyard and then take care of the trees second, or I don't know.
Take care of the
think
lumberjacks is what you want to
might be
say,
less-
right?
Huh?
Take care of the lumberjacks is what you mean.
Well, take care of the problem. We can discuss the methods when we get there. But I think the vineyard one might be a good first step, because I think the high reward on this is going to attract a lot of people. Whereas the lumberjack one with its lower reward might still be on the board by the time we get back. That's my thinking, at least. Does anyone else have a different idea?
Oh, sounds good. I don't know an awful lot about statues, but I'm sure Janla can figure it out.
We can try.
All right, so it's
I mean-
decided. That sounds.
Yeah.
So, are you going to sit around in Sarmanath for a week to wait on your armor?
Yeah, we might as well. So do we have to like tell anyone when we take these jobs? Like, should I give anyone a heads up? Like, hey,
Yeah,
we're gonna...
it's less. I like the imagery of you guys pulling these off a board. It's less of like a big board in the Seekers Hall and more like you talk to the heads of these different.
Yeah, well, I was imagining it's like you would literally pull them off a board. I was even imagining they're like less postings, more like cards that you take, but and then you kind of like confirm that you're taking it from someone else. Like there's a person
that works.
who runs that board.
Yeah, so yeah, sure. You take a card and then you go confirm with the like poster of it, and the posters tend to be the trial leaders. Though I suppose any high-ranking seeker could put one on there.
Yeah, so I find whoever posted this, and I'll let them know, like, hey, we're gonna take care of this. We'll head out here in a few days.
Yes. You find the head of the arcane, Harla of the Trial Arcanum.
I think I'll give the card to Janlar then and say you might want to let her know. I think she knows you.
All right, yeah. I'll take the card and go to Harlan. Let her know that we'll be...
Okay. So you find the very ancient tiefling sitting in like long study. There's like alchemical materials around her, and she's very engrossed in the process of whatever she's doing and the experimentation. You mention that you're taking a quest. Smiles and says, excellent, yes. Please, tell me what you find. I love the idea of living statues, yes. And then kind of turns back into her alchemy and continues.
I say,
messing with
Harlan,
whatever.
before I go, have you ever interacted with statues in the past? Have you heard of moving statues?
No, but they're fascinating, don't you think? I wonder what
agree.
makes them tick. I could probably make them if I really thought about it. Capture one for me. Yes, bring it back and let me study it.
I don't think you should bring one back to her. She seems kind of. No.
What would you give to me if I could bring you one back?
Well, the reward is 500
I totally cut out there. Did you cut out or did I cut out?
No, Greg cut out.
Okay,
You
good.
cut out.
Is 500 gold. It says so
All
right
right.
there on the notice.
I say thank you. And then head back to the group.
As Jenla has never mentioned the letter he found, right?
I don't think so.
He said he was sharing his discoveries of the loot with you all during your stay at the Druids.
Yes, I think he's the only one who read it though. Like we know that it exists, but I don't think anyone else has read what's on it. Unless you did. I don't know if you wanted to share that or not.
I'll leave it up to Daniel. Like,
No, I would have shared it with you guys. That's what I said. I did. I shared all that information with you guys.
Okay.
So, do you think that underneath I'm not sure I understood it right, but does that mean underneath the place where we were, dwarves live there?
Yes, that was a dwarven mine, I believe.
So the shaft probably just leads to their home?
There was an ancient dwarven. Was it a kingdom, Greg?
Yeah. The
There was
Dwarven
an
halls, they call themselves halls in this world, but yes, it is a Dwarven kingdom.
Long ago, there was a dwarven hall beneath the Amber Peak. It has been abandoned for some time, but it existed. Now all that is there is what remains of their legacy.
But how old is this letter then?
How, Greg, does Goreck know how long ago that hall sort of fell out of use?
Give me a history check.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll find out.
16.
Yes. So the Amber Hall was abandoned among the first halls to be abandoned after the Awakening. It was probably the first or second to be declared officially just like gone. Most of the Amber Halls had large portions of their population leave, but still operate, like the one you come from. But the Amber Hall was one of the first to leave, and this would have happened 2 to 300 years after the Awakening, that it was considered officially kaput. So roughly 700 to 800 years ago.
But
Okay.
is it not weird that the letter said the elementals might be bothering the dwarves underneath? And that letter would have been either 700 years old or there are dwarves there again, right?
Oh, it seemed very old. Everything in that treasure pile seemed quite old.
Interesting.
It sounds like the elementals have been here causing problems for quite a long time. Yeah, no, that's.
The police are coming for you.
Yeah. Oh,
What
yeah.
did you
I
do,
wasn't sure
Chandler?
if you guys could hear that or not. I was like,
The city watch cometh.
so many cops driving.
I actually thought it was just outside my house. I didn't recognize it was coming over the speakers. I just,
All right.
What instrument do they play to replicate that sound?
A klaxon.
Ah.
So. Yeah, that company exists in this world apparently. You are going to go to Colvir. You spend a week to prepare yourselves as we wait for Rose's armor to be made. What preparations, if any, do you take during this week?
I restock on my rations real fast.
Okay.
Nice.
You could seek that out
I
at
don't-
any merchant that in town for book prices, or you could try to go to Santha or one of the.
I'm gonna
merchants you
stick
met.
to the soup. That refills, right?
I think the fuzz may have actually come for Dan. Like he looked very concerned.
Oh my god, he's gone. I didn't even know.
Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, you could stick to the soup. You find it filling and nourishing, but lacking in flavor and like it doesn't leave you feeling full and satisfied. It leaves you
Actually-
feeling like you've had enough to eat, and that's that.
Better idea then. I'm gonna buy some nice spices and some things to add to this soup, so that we can fill the soup, and then we can like add things to it so that it's less boring.
Okay, yeah. So spices are interesting. What kind of spices are you getting?
I probably get some like dried meats that we can drop in there to like rehydrate, and I get like oh god, that's a good idea. What's a good spice to add to soup?
Sorry about that, guys. A cop came to my door. I can't really turn him down.
They really were after you. Oh no.
No, I guess some fucking guys running around. He's asking if I saw anybody because I was looking out the window.
The hell?
There's like legit like 12 cop cars chilling outside my house, and they're like all looking out for some dude. No.
They're like, we're looking
Did you
for
see
a guy.
anybody?
Yeah.
Did you see anybody? No, I'm just playing D&D.
I was just looking out the window because of the cops.
Yeah, we're looking for somebody like short, dark hair, glasses.
The only
I didn't see
shifty
anybody.
rogue I've seen.
Alrighty, so you
Probably
find some
myself.
spices and some meats.
Yeah, I believe though, like there's like they have cooks here, right? I'm gonna go ask like, we have a soup, and we have a lot of this soup, but it's a really boring and bland soup, and I want really good spices that I can add to make this a less boring and bland soup.
Oh, no one likes a boring soup, honey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here. What kinds of things should I be adding to this soup?
Oh, well, as someone who definitely cooks a lot of soup, I would say lots of pepper. Yes. I like pepper.
Pepper is actually a good choice, Greg. That's right.
If you wanted to go exotic, I don't know. Like,
Have you tried salt? It's also really good. Been around here for a few years.
she definitely can recommend some
Honestly?
spices. There's
I'll buy
basic
some stuff
spices
from-
like peppers and salts and just some
Some herbs. Get
Yeah,
some
very
herbs like
basic
parsley,
herbs.
basil, and
I'm
stuff.
gonna buy some of this
Then
stuff in
she
bulk.
also offers them more like exotic tips, right? Like if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to really go nuts, right? Some like saffron based something that'll make it real nice.
Mm-hmm. I buy in bulk the basic stuff, and then I buy a little bit of the more exotic stuff just for a special occasion.
Okay.
And I'll drop like 5 gold. Like I buy a lot of this stuff.
Okay, yeah, 5 gold will get you a fair bit. Saffron's actually very expensive, but 5 gold will get you like as much of the basic stuff as
I'm
you
mostly
want.
bulking up on the basic stuff.
Yeah,
And I'm
so
a little bit
you
of
can
the,
have like basic spices of like a pound if you want, like
For
like
five
tons of it.
5 copper, you get some salt. You get a pound of salt. You can for 2 gold,
Oh.
you can have a pound of cinnamon or pepper.
Yeah,
For 15 gold, you can have a pound of saffron.
yeah.
Okay, so
saffron's
yeah, I'll
expensive
probably
as
get like a
hell.
few ounces of saffron then.
Yeah. So yeah, you get pounds of whatever spice you want for 5 gold, and then
Fun
like
fact: those spices are actually listed in the player's handbook.
that's hilarious. I didn't even think they would be, so I was making
Yeah.
stuff up off the top of my head.
Amazing.
They are missing so many important things, but if you want to carry around a pound
If
of
you
saffron,
want a pound of saffron, we know exactly how much that costs.
They don't have any of the
1 pound of saffron costs as much as 1 ox does.
Yeah, saffron is actually legitimately expensive in real life too, though. So you get like
For
a
3
couple
gold,
ounces
you get a
of
pound of cloves too.
you get a couple ounces of basic of like really nice spices
Right, I will
and
note
pounds of other spices. It's just Sandbar's looking at you like, why am I carrying around pounds of pepper and salt?
I can't wait for Sambar to be in combat and be all irritated about it, and then have his 3-pound sack of pepper and just pepper blast somebody.
Although it won't be, it doesn't blind them, but they start sneezing uncontrollably.
Yeah.
it's a new pocket sand. That's
is it
what it is.
pre-ground, or do you get the
Pocket
pepper
pepper.
like
I like the big balls of
the
pepper.
big balls? Yeah, what are those called?
Yeah.
Balls. You got some
Peppercorns?
balls of pepper.
They're peppercorns.
Peppercorns. Thank you. I should have known that.
But yeah, so I'll list those.
balls.
Honestly, it's probably better because I take away like 10 pounds of rations from him, so he's probably lighter than he was before.
All right. So you acquire some spices. Any other preparations that y'all make?
Just picking up the armor.
All right. You walk into our very eccentric friend's armor shop. And sure enough, on display is your finished piece. All like gleaming, and like he has oiled it up so that it shines, and it has all of the all of the care taken into it. It is by far the prize of the shop, it seems, up in the center. And as you walk in, you're recognized immediately. Like, yes! Welcome back! Oh, I knew you'd come! Look, it's finished and ready for you!
Wow.
Now, you already paid, so it's free for you. You could just pick it up. Would you like me to measure it perfectly finely, get it all nice and tuned up, or do you want to take it as is?
How long does the measuring take? Would it take like another?
It'll take like a couple of hours just to do some fine tailoring. You're totally wearable as is. I know adventurers that don't like me poking and prodding on them for a while, but I could get it nicely fitted for you.
Sure. I mean, yeah. Why not?
Excellent! Come to the pack with me! And he spends an hour like finally getting studded leather armor onto you, and it is very fine. This studded leather armor is made from such high quality material and from such quality craftsmanship that you gain +1 AC that you would normally receive from studded leather armor, just from the true craftsmanship on display.
Nice. Rose is very, very patient as is like, stitching around and taking the measures. She's not used to people being that close to her, and like, fiddling around it. So that's kind of awkward. But she's very, she can stand still for an hour and it doesn't bother her at all.
You just like channel your inner tree.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's like,
all right. Remember, please tell all your friends about me. Yes, yes. Word of mouth is the best advertising.
I will. I'm sure many people will ask me about it. It is a beautiful, beautiful armor.
It is. Anyway, go kill many things with it. Yes. Yes. What good is armor if you're not killing things in it? Anyway, don't die in it. That would be bad too. Good luck.
Okay, I'll take notes. It says like first, kill many things in armor. Secondly, don't die. I'm like, okay. Yes, I got it.
Alrighty. So you've picked up your very expensive armor that you paid for already. With your gemstones from the first, you've collected some spices, ready to head on the road to Colvir, I assume?
I think so.
Alright.
How far is Colvir?
I will have to measure it. I don't know precisely. More than a day's travel.
But not
as
like
the crow flies, 60 miles. So on the road,
okay, so a good few days of travel, but not like
it's gonna be roughly 2.5-ish days of travel if you wanted to get into Colvir proper. You will notice that when you have this note for the I guess now seeker quests are given on cards. As you read the card that has popped into existence, you find that it is not in the city itself. There's a vineyard just to the like north and west of Colvir, towards the town bridge side, that is owned and operated by the giver of this quest, and his name is, no joke, Torange. I rolled for that name. He is a vineyard owner named Torange. Like literally orange.
Are you sure it's not
T.
orange, like orange, but with a T?
It's literally orange with a T. I don't know how you pronounce it. That is the name. I rolled from a list of names.
A nice orange all over.
It's Torange all over. And Torange is the vineyard owner for the quest. So you're not going like to proper Colvir, but to just outside of it.
All right, yeah, that's.
Greg, can you pull our world map up on the Roll20?
Oh, I forgot to move the players. I've been looking at it for a while.
I'm just like, yeah, there we go. All right.
I forget that the players can't move between the pages. I feel like that would be something I might allow my players to do.
We're just outside of Colvier, right?
Just outside of Colvier is where the quest is. Yes.
Okay.
Here,
and we just follow the main road. That's super easy.
Can look at it.
And then, does it say generally, like, are we going to the north of it? Are we going to the south of it?
Yeah, so northwest of Colvier, kind of on the. If you were to draw a line between Talonbridge and Colvier, is where this vineyard is.
Seems like pretty straightforward travel. We just follow the main road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, are you? Sorry. Are you ready to head out? Do we need to do anything else in town?
Doesn't sound like you guys have anything else to do. So with that, you get your cart put together with your supplies on it, and begin your travel down the old road. It is a kind of misty day as you begin early in the morning, and begin your long trek down to Colvier. The weather is cold and getting colder each day as we head closer and closer into the true winter months, and the mist kind of clings to you. You see your breath intermingling with it as you go. And there's not a ton of travelers along this road down into Colvier. Usually this is a quite busy road that is widely traveled, as it's one of the only ways to go to Dorcastle, the largest city in the Midlands. But you find yourselves basically on your own along this road. You pass villages and cities and the slums that kind of dot the way into Sarmanath, and eventually kind of make your way into a more open grassland that dots the old road as it bends its way south along, following the track of the mountains. You basically have the roads to yourselves as you travel along. What are you all doing as you travel here? How do you spend your days of travel?
I guess there's a lot of experimentation with finding the right combinations of what to put in the soup to make it quality soup. Tom has taken a big interest. I don't know why all of my characters eventually get like a huge interest in cooking.
Maybe you will eventually get one, Sean. You just wait for it.
Maybe.
You're going to be a soup expert.
I mean, the big thing keeping me out of it is less the interest and more the facilities.
You don't have much options when you live in a dorm. But yeah.
All right. You spend your days filling and refilling the soup while sitting on the cart as it trudges you through this.
I mean, I'm not trying to burn through it. Basically, just like I think about it, and then at night when we need to eat, I like fill up the soup and I try a different like combination, different balance of things.
Okay. How are you spending How are the rest of you spending your travels? What do you do?
I think Goreck will be reading that book that Queen First Light of the Sun on the Dew-Soaked Morning Petals handed him to see if he can find anything in it about this chained lord that she was talking about.
Sure. And you're just reading it from cover to cover.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I mean, Goreck is used to having time to do things.
Sounds
so.
Good. All right.
At some point, I would ask Rose and Tom what they're seeking. I'd say I'm seeking further knowledge and magic, further knowledge and magic of the world. What are you seeking, Tom?
A point of inspiration, maybe a bit of meaning. I don't know. It was I grew up in that temple, and life there was stifling. This was, I guess, as much just a chance to do something different as anything else.
And have you felt like you've been doing something different? Are we succeeding?
I don't know. It's different, but you know when you get the thing that you were looking for, and then you don't feel the feelings that you were expecting to feel from it?
Yes.
Something like that. We'll have to see where this goes.
And Rose, what are you seeking?
Well, it is a little difficult to say because brigands in general are not usually seeking at all. I just, do this hand motion. I say, I'm trying to figure this out. I think. I'm not quite sure what I am or how I am. So, yeah. That's I guess that's what I'm looking for.
The history of your people.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess kind of. Is it a history? Maybe. Maybe, yeah. And maybe what makes that history, I haven't quite figured it out yet. But I know I've learned a lot, even if I'm not quite sure what, but I'm pretty sure I've learned.
Yeah.
I think we all have.
I know I have. Yeah. I guess I'm just kind of looking for what their
Sure.
interests are, where they're
Your
trying
days
to go.
are spent in conversation and study and contemplation as you travel along the road. Your nights are spent either in small towns that you can stop in along the way, barely more than a few hundred people at best, or if you're unlucky, then you have to camp out in the cold night's air with your supplies on the tent. You eat the soups. On your third day of travel, you notice flying above you the hippogriffs of the area coming down from the mountains. Their claws out and their cries circling. They seem to be hunting as they circle around the air above you. But they seem to be hunting something other than you. They seem rather disinterested in you as they circle and hunt. If you want, you could just ignore them and continue on your way.
So what are they circling over? Like, do we get an idea?
There's large circles over the area that you're in. You want to
Okay.
give a look around to try to see what they're hunting?
Kind of interested a little bit. What do you guys think? Are you okay with the detour? Should we just keep going?
Did Sambar come with us, or did he stay in Sarmanath?
Sambar is on the carriage with you. So nope, no hunting.
Sorry, say that. I completely blanked out for a second there. I just stopped existing for a few seconds. Can you say what you just said again?
What are we doing? Are we checking? to see
Oh
if
no,
we're hunting?
yeah, that's what I was asking.
I
you
was
guys
asking
okay
if
with the
Sambar was with us because
He asked that of Sambar. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, so Sambar will happily make a perception check for you to see if he can find what they are hunting. Let's open up Sambar's character sheet here so we have that. Where is perception on these dumb things? I don't even care. I'm gonna make it myself.
Oh,
So he rolls a 21. As he looks around, he can see out and he looks out across the mountains, and he points out this wounded creature. It looks much like a small gazelle. This is working its way across the mountainside to the west. I guess you're facing south, so east of your. Yeah, the east of your position across the mountains. And as they circle, they seem to be following it. Sambar points out, he says, I think they could kill it easily if they wanted. But they seem to be tracking it, waiting for it to lead them somewhere. Very patient for a group of hunters.
Maybe they expect it to lead them to more gazelle. I don't know.
Could be.
I'm not much of a hunter myself.
That seems very fair. It's something I might do if I needed an extra haul. most birds of prey don't seem to think that way. It's a little bit odd for me, but perhaps down here they're more aggressive. Or less aggressive, more patient.
Do you guys want to follow this, or should we just keep going? I'm a little bit interested, but it's not our job, so I'll I'll leave this one up to you.
I mean, if it doesn't strike me as particularly odd, then I think we would just move along, I guess.
Yeah, Sandbar kind of piqued my curiosity with that a little bit, with the like, not how birds usually hunt.
No, a weak one on its own like that, I'd expect them to hunt it and kill it. These are mountain creatures, not true birds, hippogriffs. I don't know a ton about them. On the grasslands, they'd have already killed it for sure.
What do you think?
Keep going or take a quick look around?
Sorry, I said we keep.
I'm muted. God damn it.
Keep going?
Yeah, I said we keep going.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's.
Do I see any druidic signs, Greg? Right there? Like, is there?
Signs.
Yes.
Like.
Because it could also
like
be that this is.
runes on the mountain.
Yeah. Of the. Yeah, of druidic language, right? Because druidic is own.
I don't believe that you do. No.
Right.
There's no like. Is it? You tell me a little bit about how druids behave. Do druids commonly leave their symbols sitting on mountainsides or grasslands, or what are you expecting to maybe see?
No, I think Rose is just check. I don't think it's like a very common thing, but it might be like a cry for help or a message of trying to meet up if another druid comes, for to have a discussion or to discuss an issue. I think she's just particularly looking out in that moment because she thought, oh, maybe it's not a, maybe that's actually a druid in animal form. Maybe that's not a normal animal, right? But if she doesn't see any druidic signs,
you don't see a druidic sign calling out for help or aid. No.
Right. So then she figures it's just, nature has weird ways sometimes. So.
Okay.
Like hobo code.
No hobo code on the mountain. Okay. And with that, you successfully ignore the hunting hippogriffs and make your final ride into Colvir on the third day.
Like how you made that a challenge. You successfully ignored the hippogriff.
It's difficult.
You don't ride all the way into Colvir proper. Eventually, you leave the old road and make your way through smaller roads that wind down into kind of a more forested area. I say forested, but these trees have been planted. They're all very much an orchard. They grow apples and big red ones and green ones. They're kind of dotted in between. In some places, the trees are very dense and thick. In some places, not so much. Near the road, they tend to be spotted here and there. They seem to be cleaned up and kept away from the roads. And as you are driving your oxen, your cart toward the manor home that Torrange has, you come across a excuse me. You come across a little statue sitting in the corner of a road. The road branches off towards a small pond to the left of you and continues on forward close to the continues on towards the manor house itself. And sitting at the crossroads, much like you would expect a visage of Hilla guiding those at a crossroads, you instead see this strange statue. It is weathered and old and sitting cross-legged in a beggar's pose, its hands outstretched and held in front of itself. Inside of the cupped hands lies what appears to be a marble eye, cut cleanly from stone and painted to appear as an eye with a green iris. The eyes of the statue itself are blinded. They're empty, as if there's just simply sockets there. and it just sits there, holding its hands out in front of you. As you approach it, all of you who are seekers feel the marks of your seekers flare up in response to the proximity of this area. Light, not overwhelming, but you get the feel of rift magic in the area.
For a little moment, Rose has this flashback to the crazy guy in the village who just goes, "Bring me the eye!"
The eyes! Bring them to me!
Exactly.
That goes across your your mind.
Yeah, I think Tom like stops in the road, seeing this.
Yeah. You come to a halt to examine the statue.
Now, I believe the card said that the laborers who came into contact with this thing suffered misfortune in the aftermath.
Yes. It seems to have caused great misfortune to the laborers. Hey Dan, move your mic away from your mouth just a
Is
little
it,
bit.
is it back on?
Yeah, it's picking you up again.
My
We
old
need to
mic.
start-
My old
we
mic
need to
didn't.
start
pick
a-
it.
You need a new headset, dude.
This is my
a
old one I never
something
used.
for a new
That took me a
headset.
minute to figure out what was going on.
This better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's better.
good.
Yeah, we can barely hear you. We can't hear you breathing, so I guess that's...
How about now? Can you hear me talking but not breathing?
I think so.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you're good.
So, yes, the
that's-
card mentions that the laborers that have come in contact with it have had misfortune befall them.
Did it specify what kind of contact, or did you say that?
No, the direct quote is, laborers who came into contact with it have suffered misfortune. I guess that's not
How
direct
close
quote,
are we? Are we standing right in front of it?
Probably, I would guess, like, if we can see it as clearly as we do, I would guess no more than 50 feet. I'm
How
gonna
close did you
get
stop to it?
probably about 50 feet,
Yeah,
because
about 50
that's the
feet.
point where I see, like, pretty clear
Okay.
features.
Yeah, so you're about 50 feet from the statue.
I'm gonna walk a little bit closer, like another 10, 20 feet, and see if I'm, does the Seeker's Mark get any,
The Seeker's Mark doesn't intensify as you draw near it. It stays the steady burn that you felt as you got near, as it first flared up.
something tells me destroying the statue would not, solve the dilemma. I have the feeling it would not be quite so simple. Any thoughts? Janlar, do you have any studies you could perform here? Janlar, have you been struck mute by the sight of this now inspiring presence?
Try not to make you guys hear me breathing. Yeah, I guess I would take some time to detect magic in the area. Can I cast Identify on this thing? Is that possible?
You can. You spend 10 minutes casting Identify as a ritual, correct?
Yeah.
Crushing up your pearl, and you come in contact with the stone, just touching it briefly with your hands to work your magics on it. You try to identify the stone statue. Please roll D100 for me to see whether or not you can successfully do this. Unfortunately, no. You cast your Identify spell, and you come away with no reading whatsoever from this statue. As far as your spell indicates, it seems to be just a normal statue with no magical property to it. You spend another 10 minutes to cast your Detect Magic to try to view the strings of magic, and the statue itself does not seem to radiate magic. You do, however, see a faint aura of magic around the marble eye in the palms of the beggar's hands.
I'm sorry, I kind of cut out there for a second. What was that? Or maybe I could,
You see no magic detected from the statue itself, but from the marble eye in the beggar's hands, you do see a faint aura of magic from that.
Okay. I would let the party know that there's a faint aura of magic coming out of his hands. But top of that, that's all
specifically
I can
from
see.
the marble eye.
Okay, from the marble eye.
Hmm. Do you think the laborers are trying to take these eyes, and that's why they keep meeting misfortune?
It's only one eye, right?
One in each, I believe.
Oh, is it one per?
There's a
There's
single
an eye in
marble
each hand.
eye in its cupped palm hands.
Yeah.
Oh, they're together.
There's
As
only
the beggar's pose.
Okay,
right?
I thought it had like two hands apart and an eye in
No.
it.
That's why I said bring me the eye, right? Because it's like missing one apparently.
Right. It's less Pan's Labyrinth and more.
Oh god, Panzerla. Oh god. No. Oh god. If it's that, we're leaving straight away. No. Creepy shit. Is there any story about a man, like some kind of folklore story or something about? I mean, Rose wouldn't know, but she would ask, right? If
Oh, about, like, a
anybody
beggar.
knows a story about a beggar that lost his eye, is there a story about that?
Lost his eye. That's a great question. I feel like that'd probably be a parable or something. So should I make a religion check?
Sure. Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Is the marble eye that you're describing? Are you describing it as a marble eye because it's like the size of a marble, or is it like
cut
made of?
from what appears to be marble, and
Is the
has
rest of the statue
been
marble as
painted
well?
to look like a. No, the statue is not marble. Some other stonework.
Okay.
Tom, I think you may have been a little verschnickered when you were taught the parable of the eyeless beggar.
Well, I might just have never heard of it before,
Yeah.
right?
right. You don't have any memory of a beggar.
No, there's a lot of bigger stories, but nothing about a missing eye. At least not that I can recall. There's a lot of bigger stories.
Can I see if I can tell what kind of stone the rest of the statue's made of?
Yes. Please make an investigation check. Unless there's no dwarven stonecraft as a check in this edition, right?
No, dwarves just have stone cunning.
Yeah, you get advantage, right? So make an investigation, I think, intelligence check with advantage for your stone cunning.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Yep. No, that's definitely not good.
So you are unsure, which is probably surprising to you a little bit, but you do not know the exact stone that it makes up the statue.
I will inform them. I'll sort of look at it and I'll say, the eye appears to be made of marble, but the rest of this statue, I do not know this stone.
Interesting. It's substantially darker, right?
Yes. It looks a lot like the kind of color on this map.
Is it like a slate sort of color? Or
Yeah,
is
it's
it...
kind of this greenish, grayish, right? Like this is the oops, I can't ping. This is the statue here with its hands outstretched. It has a little bit of like green growth on it, as if like moss, but the stone itself is a greenish kind of gray like that.
So there should be a statue here, right? There should be a statue of Gila, you were saying?
Or is this just somewhere we would expect to see a statue?
You would kind of expect to see a statue at Crossroads. Maybe not this particular crossroad, but it is common practice.
It's a place, yeah.
For a statue or an effigy of Hilla to kind of guide Crossroads.
Could it be
this
that
is clearly not Hilla.
Could this thing move to the places of other statues? Is that a possibility?
Are there any?
You understand my meaning with that?
Are there any tracks that indicate that it moved?
You look around for tracks. Please give me a perception check, I think, is all I need.
Let's
Trying to see the
perception
tracks
and
that they
survival
have
are the same for me.
Sure,
So
sounds good.
16.
You do, in fact, see light tracks. It takes you a minute, and you look around, but the grass
I have to get my glasses out.
Yeah, the grass is slightly bent near the statue, and you can see where it does appear to have a trail leading right here to the middle of the crossroads from this direction. Like this. They don't look particularly like footprints, but this is a trail of bent grass that leads its way either to this, basically to this place. You take a look and think about it from the direction towards the manor.
Could everyone bear with me for a moment here? Could you all close your eyes?
No.
I think it's a weeping angel.
I just want to make sure. And I like wait for everyone to close their eyes, then I'll like blink and move. Just want to scratch that one off the list. So when we run that test, is there any?
No, these are not. This is not a weeping angel. I didn't realize that was a serious question to me. No, this is not a weeping angel.
No, I actually wanted to run that test.
Okay. Yeah, no. You all close your eyes, tense up, expecting it to do something terrifying, and open your eyes, and it's still staying there, with the hands palmed and outstretched in front of you.
When you detected the magic from the eye, Janlar, did you see what kind of magic it was?
The magic from the eye was transmutation.
Transmutation.
What kind of magic would I expect from that?
Transmutation is changing things into other things. The alteration of different properties.
Turning stone to flesh. Or flesh to
Oh, flesh to stone.
Yeah.
What if it's... Hold on. Are we sure that this is stone?
I'm gonna pull out a javelin and just kind of tap it with the head of the spear and make sure it has that nice pinging rocky sound that you would expect.
Yeah, you get your spear out and you give it a nice thwap to the stone. And it does give you a nice feedback. It feels like stone. You get a nice ping out of it in the air, rings out over the sound of the glade here. And you notice that it kind of chips a little bit.
I was gentle, so it does seem like fragile when I do that. I'm not like hitting it.
Oh no, I thought you really thwacked it. No, if you just give it a gentle tapping, it doesn't. It's not fragile. It feels like a soft stone, right? Like you would normally find.
I will look at the statue and I'll say, "Hello?"
The statue does not respond.
I speak in statue.
You speak in statue.
Shot.
I look at it and I say in statue.
Very good. Maybe we should talk to the owner and ask them about it.
Did these guys tell me about their pre-meeting him? Did I hear anything about the golems and the onyx gems?
You probably heard all about that at some point.
Okay. Do you have any of the onyx gems still? The ones that animated the other golems?
Yeah, Sambar, could you get him out?
Sambar reaches out and hands you the selection of gemstones. He's got the slightly larger ones next to the smaller ones in his hand.
The small and not as small.
The small and not as small, yes.
Are the small ones big enough to fit in the statue's eye sockets?
Indeed they are. The kind of like medium-sized ones do a decent job of it.
Do you want to try that?
That would look absolutely terrifying. I mean, we could give it a shot if you want, but...
Sure. Put them in the eye sockets. Oh no. I have a feeling we're going to need the marble eyes. We're gonna have to find the other marble eye and return it to this statue.
Most likely, but we have elemental eyes here.
Sure. Let's give it a shot, and I'll take one of the eyes. He takes one of the eyes, and we just kind of like fit them snugly into place.
All right, you fit in these deep gemstones into the eyes. They fit surprisingly well. They are roughly the exact size you need. And as you put them in there, you feel the burn of your mark increase, and the gemstones begin to like slowly turn as if if they were eyes, they'd be rolling back into the head of the creature. Then they begin to melt in front of your eyes and slowly run down the creature's face. As
oh my god! I grab onto Chandler.
And as they drip down to the floor,
it's a crying stone.
The gem begins to bubble and form and take shape into this strange creature, roughly the size of a rooster, with this jet black blank stare that bubbles forth from the crying of the creature. And with that, we'll probably call the session for today, as the part of you face down this strange creature of your creation.
Should have gone to the forest. Should have gone to the forest.
You didn't want to kill the trees. What can we do?
Didn't want to kill the tree. That's true.
Excellent. So I think that is the perfect place to end this session. I am going to give you experience for your previous session for killing all those golems. Now's a good time to get that experience going into the next session. Goreck, you do not get experience for that.
Yep.
The three of you plus Sambar, please somebody remember what Sambar should get, because I don't know if he'll watch this or not.
I'll write it down in my notes.
Yeah, all of you please take home 480 experience. That is your collective share of the elemental destruction, and your loot. Anything you want to shout out before we sign off the show for good here?
Go give Sekiro a shot. That game is great.
Nice.
That's it. That's all I got.
Sweet.
If you live in the Portland area and you're interested in orcs, we've got 2 events next month. Instead of our typically we do 1 during like holiday months, but as we are sort of gearing up for more active season, we've got a couple next month. Next month's theme is Into the Feywild. Nope, it's Fapril Fools.
Very good.
Last year was the Feywild one, so I'll drop a link to Orcs if you guys live in Portland and want to come to a catered D&D themed dinner and roughly 4-hour game. I DM for that. And then as always, there is this LUQ, the podcast that I play in. We're up to 8 episodes now. People are actually really enjoying it. Faye has watched it. Millman really enjoyed it during his flight from Australia. Or to Australia. Nope, from Australia. That's the one. So we've got 8 episodes out. New ones premiere Monday about 10 a.m. Pacific. So only a couple days out on the next one of that too.
Awesome. Definitely check those out. Anything that you guys want to shout out, Dan or Faye? No? Nope. All right. Well, I do.
Ducks.
Go Ducks! That's a good one. I need to do a better job of letting people know things I've got going on. What I really want to tell you is if you are a Twitch sub, as a kind of a thank you, I have a Discord. We do movie night on Sunday. We watched Ant-Man and the Wasp last Sunday. Come on by. I'll have a Rabbit link. You can watch some Netflix with me. I'm going to do a double feature starting at 4 Pacific. Starting with The Incredibles 2. And so I hope to see some of you there. Stop by. I'll be in the voice chat or in the Rabbit chat. Until then, we'll see you all same bat time, same bat channel next week. Adios, everyone.